Do you know what? I didn't have much to say today, and I always have a lot to say. The day's been dominated by the coronation, not much happening on the news that I know of, although I've not really seen the news yet, but I've not heard of anything happening in the world that takes my, that makes me think, makes me want to comment. So I'll go with a quick one, and this will prove that there's no fanciness on this side, no editing, no nothing else, because you're going to get this only minutes after it's just happened. But for all horse racing fans there, I've just seen old Frankie Dettori, and I call everyone old. I don't mean it in a bad way. In Frankie's case, it is old. Old for a jockey anyway. He's like 52 years of age. I see he's just won the 2000 Guineas, and alright, his horse went off second favourite in the end. It was third favourite, fourth favourite early on today. The rain came and maybe helped it, but the man is just a genius. And I say that being somebody that up till about 4 years ago never really liked Frankie. Sort of always called him, only because he was always on the TV. It was always all about Frankie. Everybody was raving about how great he was and great for the sport and great for this, great for that. The TV went on and on and on and on about him. The same sort of way they did about Bryony Frost, and it used to do my head in. But then I started to realise not so much, that I was stupid, because I was, and I don't mind admitting that, but not so much that he did do a lot for the sport, but I started to realise how good a jockey he was, and more so than years previous. From about 4 years ago till say a year ago, he's rode for about 3 years really at the top of his game, and I mean really, really good. At an age when most jockeys have retired, he's rode fantastically. Last year, Ryan Moore had a better year. A lot say he's the greatest jockey we've got now and the greatest in the world, but for a couple of years previous, I think he had bad years by his standards. And Frankie, for me, was the jockey of that 2 or 3 year period. I thought he was fantastic. If you put him on a horse that should have won, it won. Didn't matter how big the stage was, he just got it done. And he won on many horses that you wouldn't think he'd have won on. I thought he's been riding absolutely out of his skin. And again, another great ride today against 2 massively fancied Aidan O'Brien horses. Great ride from Frankie. On the side of the track, away from the favourites as well, where, it could have been an issue for him, but he just rode the race, and he rode the right race. I mean, an hour or so previous, he tried to have a winner for the King. He only come second, but he was very unlucky. He gave it a great ride, and I think in days of old, when you could probably hit the horse more, I'm not saying I advocate that, he might have got it up. I think the last sort of 20, 30 yards, it was hands and heels, because I think he'd give it enough smacks. I think he must have hit the permitted amount. I may be wrong, but that's what I thought. But wonderful ride from Frankie Dettori. At 52, the man is a genius. At 52 years of age, you shouldn't be riding racehorses. They go 30 plus miles an hour. They don't have to go at a speed. And when you fall off at that speed, you don't have to bang yourself, I'll tell you. You don't have to roll to get out of the way. I just think it's phenomenal what he's done. I really, really do. So hats off to you today, Frankie Dettori. An absolute masterclass. As most ever over the last few years, you're riding really, really well. And now I must finally say, horse racing will be all the poorer when you leave it. I never thought I would have said that 4 or 5 years ago, but now I've come round and I've realised how good you have been for the sport. You've done great. And one last thing, I seen the race on ITV. I don't normally watch ITV. I'm normally a Racing UK, Racing TV man. But I heard from, Francesca Cumani, just say that her dad has always said Frankie's just a lucky jockey. And I think you probably are, Frankie, and I think you have been. You have been a lucky jockey throughout the years. But that said, they say people doing the job correctly, doing the job right, deserve some luck. And the amount of what you have probably just reflects how well you do the job. Fantastic, Frankie. Absolutely brilliant from old Frankie Dettori there. Well done.